Oh. Oh, boy. Okay, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. We've got more husks. Woohoo. Yay. Hooray. Husks. Why did builds get overwhelmed? Good question. I can't answer it for you. I don't know why Bilgewater got overwhelmed. I mean, I guess I will say, what keyword do you give Bilgewater, right? What's the Bilgewater keyword? Deep? That's true. Deep and lurk are both Bilgewater keywords, but you can't really put that on just this random token. It still feels weird that Bilgewater is the region that got overwhelmed out of all of the regions. You'd expect this on, like, Noxus or Freljord, but instead Freljord got regen, which, okay, you know what? Regen in Freljord is fitting, sure, but Challenger in Noxus? Where did that come from? I'd give Challenger to Bilgewater 8 out of 8 times. Because I don't know why Overwhelm went to Bilgewater of all regions. Did Quick Attack go to P and Z? We haven't seen P and Z's yet, so probably. Like, P and Z is probably going to have Quick Attack. That makes the most sense. And that's going to make it one of the better husks. Overwhelm is a good one. I don't know why Bilgewater got it. Impact is god-awful. And, I mean, it was pretty obvious that Bandle City was going to get Impact, but this is just horrid. You don't want to give your unit Impact with this. This is the worst way to give something Impact. I guess we'll see what the hell these cards have to do tomorrow. Because we still don't know how they're generated. Holy shit. Riptide Sermon. 6 mana, Bilgewater slow. Deal 4 to an enemy unit. Spawn 3. Deal 2 to the enemy nexus. Jesus Christ. Bilgewater Jace incoming. Oh my god. The fact that that actually could happen makes me a little upset. So, alright, we've got Tentacle Smash, which is spawn 3, then your strongest tentacle and an enemy strike each other. Right? This is a 4 mana, create a 3/3, it then strikes a unit of your choosing. This spawns the same amount, deals 4 instead of 3, and does that for free, doesn't need your tentacle to do that, and then additionally deals 2 to the enemy nexus. This has a stronger effect, creates the same amount of cards, and has an additional effect of dealing 2 to the enemy nexus for 2 extra mana. Tentacle Smash is already kind of a pretty nuts card, right? You already see this card a lot in play, and it feels kind of hard to fight in most situations, right? And if you have a Malawi, it becomes a spawn 4 too, so you're striking for 4. I mean, the 4 damage barrier, I was talking about it yesterday with Gwen. The 4 damage barrier is a very important threshold to be able to cross, and the power in this just being able to cross it, and then it also gives you a 3/3, and then it also deals 2 to the enemy nexus. This does a lot of shit. But yeah, this seems a little ridiculous. Bandle City 2 mana landmark, the Paper Tree. When an ally with an attachment attacks, grant that ally +1/+0. This is a very specific effect. I'll grant it's a decent effect, and the cost of 2 mana is not that hard to sync, so it feels alright to play with. It's not an overwhelming effect, right? We don't have a ton of attach units. We've only got like 4 or 5. So, while yes, this feels good if you're running all attach units, you usually don't do that. You usually only run a handful so that your already strong units can be stronger. And you can still fill up units on your board without massacring your hand. It's not a bad card. It's a little too niche, you know? Okay, our second Bandle City is a 2 mana slow. Drop the Bomb. Deal 2 to a unit and summon a Scrappy Bomb. That's the token Inventive Chemist makes. That's the countdown 3, deal 1 to the enemy nexus. I don't know that Scrappy Bomb is the best landmark unit thing you could generate off of a Mystic Shot effect. You also can't target the nexus. That's worth noting. You have to target a unit. It can be an allied unit. Hey, Zig's Shadow Owls. Zig's Shadow Owls when? I think the Scrappy Bomb is an alright effect. It's more aggro, but the fact that you can only deal 2 to a unit for the Scrappy Bomb is iffy. Granted, if it was deal 2 to anything, and it was just a slow Mystic Shot and it generated a token, that'd probably be a little bit too busted, so I understand why it's at the price point it is. I think the price point is what saves it for the most part. Although, dealing 2 to a unit and creating a Scrappy Bomb are two different effects. They don't work completely opposite each other, but they don't come together too much, you know? I feel like this is great in Zig's Talia or Zig's Xerath. Honestly, you probably got a good point there. I think those two would definitely enjoy the card. Actually, the more that I'm thinking about it, the direct damage that Xerath decks try to go for by having Xerath, this is your workaround to it, right? Because the only thing you can run in those kind of decks is Rite of the Arcane. And Rite of the Arcane is fine removal spell, but you don't always want to be sacrificing your mana or a landmark in order to be able to get this effect off, right? So there's merit in this. This is good removal for a Zig Xerath, Zig's Talia deck. This is removal that they don't really have access to. And it's progressing the level up conditions of whatever champions you have in there. So I think this is a good one. I think this is a good card. Me likey. Me likey. You get a thumbs up. Final card that I saved for today, because I saw it had Zilean art. Manifest an allied landmark that has been destroyed this game and summon it. They're finally doing it, guys. They're finally printing Zilean support. Ooh, hold on. This is a summon effect. I just realized that. This card is actually kind of nice. Like, okay, I'm going to talk about the Zilean effect first, because I fucking love Zilean, and I want to make Zilean decks work, and this card makes Zilean decks work. What this card does for Zilean is it lets him get his time bombs. You put down your time bomb, it destroys itself, and you can use this card to re-summon a time bomb right after you destroy it. In most Zilean decks, you're not running a lot of other landmarks that are destroyed in some capacity. And even if you are, it's a manifest effect, so my guess is it's going to give you the option of like multiple landmarks and probably try to avoid doubling up if it can. So what this means is you're going to end up with like a Zilean deck that just plays its time bomb, the time bomb gets destroyed, it plays this card, manifests the time bomb again, summons that time bomb right back down, and your Zilean is leveled in 2 turns. That's nuts. Zilean never levels that fast. This is so much safety for a Zilean deck. Because Zilean's primary downfall is how inconsistent time bombs are, right? The only way you can play time bombs is you generate them with Zilean. You can try and find them and multiply them with careful preparations. You can play P and Z and use counterfeit copies or the 4-2 predict. All of those kind of work, but it forces you into basically playing P and Z if you want to get time bombs off. This gives Zilean freedom. He can actually manifest his own time bombs again. You can create time bombs, even though they're really hard to find. Once you find one, this is a safety net to make sure your time bombs are good. Zilean is going to be fantastic with this card. I guarantee it. You're going to start seeing more meta Zilean decks, and it's going to be a very fun time for me. Let's try and figure out, like, what landmarks blow shit up, right? Obviously, we just talked about it. Thralls is ridiculously good with this. Thralls are going to start running this card. Ravenbloom with Annie. I'm inclined to agree. I was going to say this one. I think you can make an Annie deck in Shurima with Rite of Passage now, and use the Rite of Passage to duplicate the Ravenbloom. So I agree. I think Annie is going to have a home in Shurima now, with Ravenbloom Conservatory. Because Ravenbloom is already something that auto-progresses its countdown. It's a 1-mana effect to create a 6-mana card. And this just lets you manifest it. You just run it in a deck where Ravenbloom is the only landmark you've created, and you're effectively doubling the amount of Ravenbloom Conservatories you're running. And that's really good. The power behind Tibalt is insane. And I feel like there's enough cards in Shurima where you could try and make a fast, slow, skill-based deck around this. I don't know quite what it is yet. I'd have to look into it. But there's a possibility using Rite of Passage to make that deck. Preservarium could be interesting, right? That draw effect? Yeah, Preservarium is definitely a card that gets value out of this. It's a summon effect, too. Rite of Passage summons the card. So, you're paying 2 mana to summon the Preservarium at focus speed. And that gets you to draw 1. That's going to be pretty nice. That's going to be pretty nice to have. I think Preservarium's a good card to have with this. I feel like Haunted Tomb could see play with Rite of Passage. This is a pretty good revive effect. There's maybe some Shadow Isles cards. Ooh! Would Nasus decks work with this? Or does it only... It wouldn't count the boosted stats, would it? No, so Nasus decks wouldn't work with this. This can't really revive Nasus. So who else would you run it with then, right? There's got to be some units you can run it with. I think there's potential here with Haunted Tomb. I just don't know where it is. So that's something I'd look into. Here's another one. Endless Devout, I think, could maybe see something out of this, right? I think the Sarcophagus has merit. I think it's something that can work. If you're already playing Ziggs Zareth, this gives you a reason to try and run Rite of Passage. Saltspire, actually? Saltspire can definitely work. I missed this on my first roundabout, but Saltspire is actually something that could totally work. The +2/+2, as a summon effect, and this whole thing is all about, you know, creating a landmark that can be summoned. It just summons an old landmark that already came down. So this could redouble the effect. Yeah, no, okay, this is potentially worthwhile. Saltspire could work. This would be more if you're angling for a Talia deck, I think. I am such a simp for Zilean decks, so this card just has to be my favorite card. This makes Zilean a possible playable card, and it's also a card that other, like, decks are gonna want to use, right? This isn't specific to Zilean. This isn't, like, a card that only creates time bombs, which is something I'd like to see. I'd like to see something that creates more time bombs for Zilean. But this is a way of giving more time bombs to Zilean, while also making a card that other decks can play around with, right? Which makes this such a good card. It makes this flexible, it makes this viable, and it makes this just fun to think about and fun to look at ideas for, you know? It's a bit of a mixed day. It's a mixed day for variety. We should be getting Evelyn tomorrow, though. Almost definitely, right? I'm really looking forward to playing some more Zilean decks now, because my boy has legs. He might be able to finally see play. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this.